Chapter 15. Times of Emergency. Nature is gentle and beautiful, but forces of nature at times can be destructive. A natural disaster is a natural event that causes immense destruction. There may be loss of life and property, often leaving people injured and homeless. Floods, earthquakes, cyclones, volcanic eruptions, hurricanes and droughts are some natural disasters that we shall read about in this chapter. Earthquakes. Have you ever experienced an earthquake in your life? When an earthquake occurs, the ground trembles and shakes. Earthquake is thus a sudden movement of parts of the Earth's surface. What causes an earthquake? The Earth's crust is like a covering of the Earth. It is made up of many huge pieces called plates. The plates float over the thick liquid layer inside the Earth. Sometimes, the plates slide past each other, causing the part of the Earth to shake. The surfaces where the plates slip are weak points called fault lines. The point deep below the Earth's surface, where the earthquake begins, is called the focus. The corresponding point on the Earth's surface is called the epicenter. After the first big earthquake, smaller tremors may occur. These are called aftershocks. Destruction caused by an earthquake depends upon its magnitude. The bigger the magnitude of an earthquake, the bigger will be the damage caused by it. The magnitude of an earthquake is measured on the Richter scale. Effects of an earthquake. Cracks develop in the walls of buildings. These cracks may lead to the collapsing of buildings. Electric wires get snapped, resulting in short circuit and fire. Breaking of dams can result in floods. Roads may crack. Pipelines may burst and a lot of destruction may occur. Preventive measures. As soon as you feel the tremors, move out of the house to an open area. If you are not able to move out, take refuge under a table to avoid getting hurt. Hold on to it tightly so that it does not slip away. If you are outside during an earthquake, move away from buildings, trees, street lights and power lines. Avoid entering into a building for some time even after the earthquake stops, as damaged portions may continue to fall even after the disaster. Do not use a lift. Earthquake-prone areas should have wooden houses. They stand a chance of remaining upright during an earthquake. Volcanoes. A volcano is a rupture on the crust of the Earth, which allows hot lava, volcanic ash and gases to escape. Hot lava bursts out to the surface through a vertical funnel called vent. Types of volcanoes. According to the level of activity, volcanoes can be of three types: active, dormant, and extinct. Active volcanoes are those which erupt quite often. Mount Etna in Italy, Mount Erebus in Antarctica, and Barren Island in the Andaman Sea of India are some of the active volcanoes. Dormant volcanoes are those that have not erupted for a long time, but may erupt any time. Example: Mount Kia in Hawaii, Mount Rainier in the United States and Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa. Extinct volcanoes are those that are dead and inactive. Example, Mount Ashitaka in Japan, Aconcagua in Argentina and Mount Buninyong in Australia. Floods. Some parts of India receive very heavy rainfall during the monsoon. Heavy rains cause rivers to swell up and overflow into the neighboring areas, causing floods. They pose great danger to life and property of people living in the coastal areas. Effects of floods. Strong cyclonic winds cause destruction on land by damaging buildings and houses, uprooting trees and other structures. Fields get immersed in water and the crops are destroyed. Electric lines, communication networks, and water supply gets affected. Belongings of people gets washed away. People become homeless and so do the animals. There is a shortage of drinking water and food, and this affects all living beings. Due to waterlogging and unhygienic conditions, germs spread, and there is an outbreak of diseases such as jaundice, malaria, and cholera. Cyclones. In coastal areas, heavy rain is accompanied with very strong winds. This is called cyclone. Cyclones originate in the seas and move towards the land. They bring a lot of sea water with them and flood the coastal areas. They uproot and destroy everything that comes along their way. In India, states like Uttar Pradesh, Odisha, West Bengal, Bihar, and Assam are prone to cyclones and floods. Preventive measures. Dams should be built across the rivers to check the flow of water into the lands. Trees should be planted in large numbers as they slow down the flow of water. A good drainage can prevent water logging, thereby controlling flooding to some extent. Stilt houses are made in flood-prone areas and near shores of seas and lakes so that water may not enter the house. Do not drink water or eat food items exposed to flood waters. Shut off the gas cylinder. Put off the main electric switch to avoid electrocution. It is dangerous to move or drive through flood waters. The water can be deeper than it appears. Wear gloves and boots to avoid skin contact with flood waters. Droughts. Droughts happen when there are no rains for a long time, several months or even years. Without rains, rivers and natural water bodies dry up, and groundwater level goes down as it is not replenished. Lack of water affects all living beings. Effects of drought. Due to lack of water for irrigation, crops get destroyed, resulting in a severe shortage of grains, vegetables, and fruits. Livestock perish due to shortage of fodder and water, resulting in shortage of milk and animal products. There is widespread starvation. There is a sudden outbreak of diseases or epidemics causing deaths. Soil erosion increases because the crops die and the land becomes barren. Preventive measures. Planting of trees reduces the chances of drought. Rainwater harvesting can be done to store water. This can be used during drought. Also, water can be stored in dams, and reservoirs, and supplied in times of need to the affected areas. All vegetation including food crops can be dried and stored. Managing a natural disaster. You have to try and do the following if you are affected directly by a natural disaster. Remain calm and positive. Help people if possible. Seek help from any available source. Approach rescue and relief workers as soon as you can. Rescue and relief. Relief and rescue operations are carried by the government and international organizations like the UN, United Nations, and the USAID, United States Agency for International Development, and also by several NGOs. When a natural disaster strikes an area, first, arrangements are made for evacuation, that is, removal of people from disaster-affected areas. Helicopters are used to rescue by airlifting people stranded in the affected area. Then immediate relief is supplied in the form of food, shelter, clothing, water and medical services. Rehabilitation of displaced victims is done by finding shelter for them, providing them clothing and jobs, and slowly rebuilding their lives. Community help. The community as a whole also provides relief by contributing money, medicines, food and clothing. Timely relief and support of the community not only saves many lives but also helps rebuild the lives of those affected. Volunteers, doctors, nurses, and other government agencies work together in times of calamities to help people rebuild their lives. Medicines, food, drinking water, etc. are provided to the affected people. During major crises, even the armed forces come to the rescue of the people. World Bank. Plates. Earth's crust is made up of huge pieces called plates which float over Earth's thick liquid layer. Fault lines, weak points on the surfaces where the plates slip sliding past each other. These are the places where earthquakes occur. Focus, the point deep below the Earth's surface, where the earthquake begins. Epicenter, the focus corresponding point on the Earth's surface. Aftershocks, smaller tremors that occur after the first big earthquake. Destruction caused by an earthquake depends upon its magnitude. Richter scale, the scale that measures the magnitude of an earthquake. In a nutshell, a natural disaster is a natural event that causes immense destruction. Earthquakes, drought and flood, volcanic eruptions are natural disasters. Natural disasters cause loss of life and property. Victims of a natural disaster need to be rescued and rehabilitated. Rescue and relief after natural disasters are organized by the government, NGOs, international organizations, and the community.